Hello. A key area of microeconomics is elasticity. So elasticity is the responsiveness of quantity demanded when price changes. I'm going to repeat that. Elasticity is about the extent to which quantity changes when price change. Right? We don't know. So the way we calculate that is to use a number of formulas. And one of them, particularly for price elasticity of demand, is denoted by a slightly complicated formula, which I'll be putting on the board. But also there is a much shorter version. So depending on what question you receive in your exam, you might be able to apply one or the other. I'm going to start with what we call the midpoint formula. The midpoint formula, okay? So the midpoint formula is denoted as Q2 minus Q1 all over Q1 plus Q2. Let's put this into bracket and tidy it up. All of this over price 2 minus price 1 all over price 1 plus price 2. Now, in some textbooks, the values here tend to be divided by 2. So you're taking the averages of this value. But because the 2 here crosses out with the 2 here, I ignore that just for this video. So this is normally what you see as the formula for your elasticity. So is it complicated? No, it isn't. What we are trying to do here is to see the changes in the quantity as price has changed. So you can see we are dividing the values for the quantity by the changes in price and of course the average of the different prices. I'll illustrate this by using a very small demand curve. So here is an example, or maybe I should put that here. So let's say you have your quantity, you have your price, and we have a standard demand curve. So let's say at the price of 10, the quantity that was demanded is 2. When the price goes down to 5, the quantity increases to, say, 4. Okay? Just for example purposes. So we can slot these numbers into our formula and work it out. Let's have a go. So you can see that I can replace these values with what we have in the formula here. So I can call this, starting from here, I can call this P1 and I can call this P2. You can see the price has decreased, and I can call this Q1. We have Q1 here, and I can call this Q2. Okay? So let's just put those values into our formula. So our elasticity would then be equal to Q2, which is 4. So we have 4 minus Q1, which is 2, all over the average. Okay, so we have 2 plus 4 here, all into bracket, tidy it up, open another bracket, P2, we know our P2 is 5, so 5 minus 10, because that's our P1 is there, all divided by 10 plus 5. So we've got all these things tidy up. Now, let's work it out then, a little bit slowly. So 4 minus 2, this gives you 2, all over the average of this, that's 6, divided by 5 minus 10. This is where the problem begins. 5 minus 10 is going to give you a negative value, right? Because the elasticity on a demand curve is negative. Why is that the case? Well, it's because of the law of demand. The higher the price, the lower the quantity that will be demanded, and vice versa. So the slope, mathematically speaking, on this line is negative. Okay? So here we will have divided by minus 5 all over 15. Okay, we can make this much more tidy. So we'll have 1 over 3 here. Okay, we cross this out. 2 into 2, it's 1. 2 into 6 is 3. Do the same here. Divide that by minus 5 into minus 5, it's 1. Minus 5 into 15 is 3. Actually, there's a negative sign here. Okay? When we work this out, I'm running out of space. But when we work this out, our answer is going to be minus 1. Okay? It's going to be minus 1. That's our answer. But in the calculation of elasticity, we do not take into account the negative sign. That is the rule. You don't take into account the negative sign. And in mathematics, if you don't take into account the mathematics, take the absolute value. So you can either put 2 lines here to suggest that this is the absolute value, or you can just get rid of the negative sign. Not a problem. So your answer here, 1, can be interpreted according to the rules of price elasticity of demand as unit elastic. Okay? Unit elastic. What does that mean? It means that if there has been a 50% decrease in price, there will be an equivalent 50% increase in quantity. Okay? So whatever the differences are in terms of changes in price, the same effect would happen to the quantity. So if price increased by 100%, quantity is going to decrease by 100%. That's unit elastic. The rest are inelastic, elastic, perfectly inelastic, and perfectly elastic. But that will be for the other class. Okay? Thank you.